Should you put your price on your website? It's a great question. It's one that applies mostly to services businesses. In product businesses, you would probably expect to see a price on a website. But when it comes to services, there's a lot of debate as to whether you should put a price on the website or not. And there are a number of things you need to consider. Firstly, is your price comparable to your competitors? Somebody who arrives on your website and sees your price might well have spoken to or seen the websites of other people in your industry. If you're a lot cheaper or a lot more expensive, that's something you're going to have to explain, and it's something that your website's going to have to support. If you're more expensive than your competitors, then your website has to look higher quality and more premium than your competitors, and your copy has to explain that away. If that's something that you're worried that your website doesn't do or you can't do in the copywriting, you may be better off holding back and waiting until you have an opportunity to talk to somebody so that they can get a feel for you and you can talk to them about why your price is different from your competitors. The second thing to look at is, of course, whether all of your competitors are listing their prices on their website. If they are and you don't, that could knock you out of the running. When somebody goes online to do their research, they find a few people in your industry, they look at the prices, they come to your website, you don't have your price on, maybe they're not even going to bother to call or email you unless they're so impressed by your website or they've been referred to you or they've had some other sort of recommendation of you. So you could knock yourself out of consideration if you're not providing the information that everybody else is providing. The third consideration, regardless of whether everybody else is putting their prices up online, is whether you could use a bit more traffic from Google. In my experience, for instance, I offer a ghostwriting service, and a lot of the traffic to that service comes from people asking, what does a ghostwriter cost? And because I've got some information about my fees on the website, I attract traffic, because on the whole, ghostwriters don't talk about their fees online. So if you're in a business where people don't put their fees up online, you could win the war for getting traffic from Google by providing a good answer for Google searches to that question of how much should somebody in this industry cost. Another consideration is whether you get a lot of tire kickers. Going back to my ghostwriting example, I found that I got a lot of people making inquiries in the early days who couldn't afford somebody to help them to write a book. One of the biggest reasons, therefore, that I put my prices online was so that people could come online, they could see how much ghostwriting a book cost, and they weren't going to bother to get in touch with me if that wasn't in line with their budget. I got a lot fewer inquiries, but the inquiries I got were of a higher quality. So if you find yourself getting a lot of tire kickers who just don't have the budget or the interest in paying what you're charging, you could find it a really good idea to exclude them at that hurdle by putting up your fee. On the other hand, you might be in a business where people think they don't have the budget for that, but they don't understand all that you do and the value that you bring, and you may therefore want that opportunity when they make the inquiry to have a chance to talk to them and say, well, you know, this is what it costs, but this is why it costs that much. This is what you're getting. Another idea is to give people the price, but to, if you like, charge for it. So again, with the ghostwriting example, I have a page about the fees, but if you actually want to know what the fees are, you have to give me your email address, and in return for that email address, you automatically get sent a PDF with a discussion of ghostwriting fees and why they are what they are. So I've got your email address. I can do some marketing to you if I want to, and you get a valuable piece of information that you can't get from a lot of ghostwriters' sites. So again, you might find that's a way to differentiate yourself from your competitors, and also to give you a way of gathering email addresses from prospective clients so that you can do some marketing to them. There are other considerations when it comes to putting your price up on your website. These are just a few of them, but they give you some sort of idea of the fact it's not a yes or no question. It's to do with your industry, your business strategy, and what you stand to gain by putting the price up versus what you might lose by putting the price up. So when you start to run the question through those sort of filters, I think you'll be able to come up with an answer for yourself.